right. Yo, what's good, everybody? Brent here. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. It is Tuesday, February 24th. Hope, like I said, I hope everybody's having a great day. It is 1:15 p.m. here where I'm at in California. It is about, I don't know, like 75 and sunny. I know a lot of you guys are probably still dealing with the cold, but blessed to be here, not having to deal with any of that this winter. But yeah, it's been obviously Bitcoin dropping today. Zach XBT, the Zach XBT, expose hype or whatever has kind of been like the only story on the timeline. I'm sure you guys have seen. Just literally yesterday, my entire timeline was Zach XBT posts. But I think it's interesting nonetheless. I think there's we'll talk about what I think is likely to happen there. Obviously, if it was Coinbase or like Binance, that'd be probably a bigger thing to worry about. But let me know in the chat before we get started. Before we go and talk about Bitcoin, I'm going to review some videos. I want to start doing on these streams, especially as the market is kind of slow. Start reviewing some videos and doing some cool stuff like that. But before we go and get started, I'm going to go and do a USDC giveaway again towards the end of the stream, maybe about 30 to 45 minutes from the comments of the stream tweet. I think that's the easiest way, always been the easiest way to do it. So if you haven't already, go ahead and like, comment, retweet, shoot me a follow. But again, if you want to enter yourself into that giveaway, make sure to be in the comments of the stream tweet. Before we get started, I see some people in the chat already, but let me know two things. One, where you're tuning in from, what country. Like I said, I'm in the U.S., California right now. But I always like to see where everybody's tuning in from. I know at this time right now, the EU, it's pretty late. It's the afternoon in the U.S., but let me know where you're tuning in from. And then the second one is let me know if this is your first time in the stream or if you're returning. I see a lot of returning names in the chat. Todd Crypto, what's good, brother? Stefanski says patience, showing love from the Telegram. Appreciate you. Trench Baby Mills says BMC Brent, what's good? What's up, Trench? Meta says let's go. Buy Nobody Coin. Venox says he's been away for too long. Good to see you. Samson Soul says from LA. That's what's up, bro. You and I are pretty close. While Ridley says Northeast US. Trench Baby Mills says Chicago. Algeria. Always returning brother from New York City. I know, Mike, you're always here. What's up, MKT? Hope everyone's doing well. Oh, let me share my screen real quick too, by the way. But let's just go ahead and get started with Bitcoin, right? Again, Bitcoin drives the entire market. Bitcoin coming down over the last few months is why the entire crypto market has gone into you know, to an ice age the last couple months. Not too bad, not really an ice age, but because gone down to has gone down. So let's go ahead and get started with Bitcoin. Obviously, when we saw this consolidation, always possible that we get a bounce. Usually, you get some type of bigger bounce when you get multiple week consolidations. But when I saw weakness at the 67K low, coming into what was this? Coming into this low here on the 22nd, a couple days ago on Sunday, I placed a short position about 66.5K, and I'm holding that now. on the lower time frame, guys, what I think we're going to end up seeing is now that we've closed below this bottom here, I think we're going to continue to the downside. My targets, again, I think we're going to come under 60K and probably hit 57, 56K into this kind of structure here previously from September. And really, I put out this tweet a couple hours ago. Like, my main two focuses, and I think what, am I sharing my screen? Yeah, I'm good. My main two focuses, and I think this is, if you're not trading in the trenches and doing all these other plays, there's been a few plays like Grockius, which we called in the Telegram yesterday, which went 15x. But other than that, there's not been too many things moving. I think this playbook, kind of what I've been doing, is something that everyone could be focusing on. Besides the shorts, at least the first one is DCAing on the way down here. Um, you know, I think Bitcoin is going to come down to 60K. Very rarely do you get a close under a low and it just stops here and goes up. I think we're going to get continuation into 60K, the 60K area, 57K. Does it go into the 50 or 40 or who knows? When you're in kind of price discovery here, as far as like in a kind of a bear market structure like this, it's anyone's guess where it actually stops, right? Like for me, like I said, 57K because of the structure there, right there. I could see it forming a low there. But my game plan and what the smart game plan has been in every bear market is just take the few great assets that you have strong belief in, whether that just be Bitcoin only or whether that be some other alts. For me, it's Bitcoin, ETH. That's what I'm really going heavy on. Sol, and then I am nibbling on some alts, which we'll talk here in a bit. Some people, for you meme coin people, if you're a fucking somebody put not nobody is their coin there. If you're a fucking nobody sausage person, like that's the time you want to be DCing into whatever coins you may believe in, right? A lot of people will tell you to stick to Bitcoin and ETH only. That's where I'm putting most of my bags in, most of my effort in. But only because I know once the market has shown signs of turning around, that's where I can go more heavily into these other assets. I am a big believer that I think certain movement coins, are going to survive. I think online movements as a whole have nowhere near seen their peak of popularity. I think as the world goes more digital, people are going to want to group and kind of form around online communities, and I think tokens are the way that people are going to be able to really like rally around things. Maybe NFT projects and stuff too, but I think tokens are going to be that thing. So I think movement coins are really going to bounce out of this. But just to conclude about Bitcoin, I would really not overcomplicate it. Um, everybody has their opinion on where they think we're finally going to stop. Me personally, if you ask, I think Bitcoin's going to probably somewhere in the 50s, whether that be 56, 57K is the final low, or we drift further into it. I think we are going to at least drift into the 50s. And what we're looking for, well, oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Great. What we're looking for a final low here on Bitcoin is one of two things. Either most of the time we get some type of consolidation, like we got here that ended the November 2022 bear market, which we consolidated for 2 3 months, or some type of huge V-shaped bottom, right? About 80% plus of the time, you're going to get some type of consolidation to form a bottom. But the other option is that we could, God damn it, hold on. The other option is that we could go like we did in 2020, where Bitcoin put in a huge fat wick and just put in a low from there. Even there though, Bitcoin consolidated for 2 or 3 weeks. So really, when we do see the bottom, I think we are, like we always do, we'll get some type of consolidation or slowdown. But really, the way to go about it, the way that did me very well and what kind of set me up for my entire crypto kind of career was this 2022 bear market, guys. I've told the story a few times here, but I've been dabbling in crypto since 2016. Um, Back actually on Facebook is where I first started messing around with crypto, but 2016 during the first 2016 2017 during this first huge run back here, and then didn't make too much money, didn't even have too much money in the market, didn't have any clue what I was doing. I just kind of got introduced to the markets with forex probably months before that, but it was this first 2020 bear market where I just dove in and started learning everything I could about crypto in general, smart contracts, Ethereum, all these different things. Started watching a lot of YouTube videos and just DCAing into Bitcoin, ETH, a lot of these altcoins. I remember taking 20, 30% drawdowns, 40% drawdowns before it finally did bottom out. But that strategy, again, Bitcoin, ETH sold, but a lot of altcoins. I remember Mana, a lot of gaming coins, a lot of these coins that I bought during this period in 2020, 2019, 2020, went up 20, 30, 40x, literally just for me buying and holding. And again, not every coin I bought during that period went up. And I'm not saying we're going to see the exact same thing play out on this next run, but really just DCAing and selecting certain coins that you really have a lot of conviction in, and then just holding, through this time is what I'm doing. Again, and you don't have to overcomplicate it. Even Bitcoin back to all time highs is going to be a 2 or 3x. Some of these alts, you want to be very picky because not everything's gonna recover. Um, but yeah, that's how I'm handling it. I am in a Bitcoin short. Again, I will be taking profits on the way down here and probably be out of most of my position by 57, 58K. That's kind of how I'm playing this thing is, again, DCAing into Bitcoin and other winners, and then playing shorts to the downside. Right now, as far as the leverage stuff, guys, I do think most of the short to the downside hasn't happened yet. So if you are you do dabble in perps, be careful. Obviously, find your own entries, all of that. But I think there's a good case to be made that Bitcoin could maybe tag 67 one more time, or 57. What is it? 60, 67, and one more time, and then come back. Then continue down. I think that's actually a really nice setup here. So, yeah, I expect more downside in Bitcoin. Also, the 200 moving average, I think, is on the daily. Do I have them up here? It's just 200 simple or exponential moving average is at that 57K level as well. So, yeah, I think we head down to 57K over the next few weeks. Obviously, other coins will head down with it. Ethereum also, I expect very likely to break through 18 and probably see Bitcoin or ETH under, close to 1500 later on into the spring. What I think is going to end up happening, if you had to ask, I think Bitcoin will probably see some type of accumulation phase into the spring and summer, and probably some type of bounce along the way. But until we see some type of significant structure and then a break to the upside, we should probably expect some more downside. Really, guys, what I expect is either a bottom probably in the summer, or potentially if the bounce, whatever bounce we do get, fails, potentially as late as Q3, Q4 of this year. Right, I'm prepared for both of those scenarios. Obviously, we all want this thing to end, next week or in Q2 or whatever, but it doesn't work that way, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and check the chat before we go ahead and move on to some more charts. Ben Jasper, what's up, bro? You said 50K is a good buying opportunity, 40K is a great one. Yeah, it's really bearish. I'm targeting those areas too. 57, XRP, Uni, Jupiter. Yeah, we'll look at all those too. Title of the video is funny. Yeah. Exhaustions or consolidation. Thoughts on potentially what could happen if we finally get some regulatory clarity from the White House? Great question. So I think the regulatory clarity stuff, insanely bullish long term. Mid and long term, I think regulatory clarity is. I've been saying this for a while. Is going to allow like crypto founders who may have been sketched out by crypto for years before to finally come in and build businesses, launch NFT projects, um, you know, launch stable coins, like do all these different things that there wasn't the framework for beforehand. A bunch of more funds are going to be able to, adopt stable coins. I think all of these things, the regulatory clarity is going to lead to adoption of wallets and all these different things, which just builds the bigger pie. It's going to make crypto more of a thing in the mainstream, which will trickle down actually to the meme coins and whatever else everybody else trades. Right? It may not happen this year, or may not happen in the next few months. But I think what the regulatory clarity is setting up, and I'm glad you asked this, Walu, is this next run. I truly think like this next crypto run, and again, who knows when that's going to start? It could start at 57K. We get this bottom and we just rocket up from here. So, China buys Bitcoin, something crazy happens that we don't expect. Or, who knows? Maybe it's a little bit longer trickle into late this year. But I think this next run that we are going to have, because of the regulatory clarity, because of institutions continuing to build crypto products, institutions don't build crypto products for other institutions to buy. They build them so that eventually, in the coming years, that retail people, everyday people, buy them. That's the reason I set up the gold ETFs, the internet stock ETFs. The internet stock ETFs, they set up in what, 97, 98, 2000, but they didn't really start to go crazy until 2002, 2003, 2004. Like that's what all these institutions are doing, setting up all these crypto products. I think the regulatory stuff, all of this stuff is pointing to this next cycle potentially being like a real adoption cycle where the technology itself and the assets are really being like adopted mainstream. And potentially that's when we might get like a long-term super cycle. I know every time people said that, I myself thought we probably were going to get that this last year, but I think that's what kind of stuff the regulatory clarity sets up. So that's a great question. Together we can pass this period. If we all left, then we are done. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just about finding the balance between not driving yourself fucking nuts, staring at the screen all day, wondering if it's going to be 2 months or 6 months or 8 months, but then also staying involved. Um, I think just building a routine of scrolling Twitter for like 30 minutes, whatever, reading all your favorite accounts, watching some videos, interviews. Interviews are everything. Like, watch the long form interviews, maybe an hour or so a day, whatever, and then go about your fucking day the rest of the time, right? Some people are going to have more time if you want to, be more obsessive, but um, just building a kind of a routine right now where, you have some balance. Also, I think right now, if anybody's sitting here, you're like 18, 19, 20, you're young 20s, 30s, it doesn't even matter. Like, after that 2017, 2018 bull run, like, I remember I had very little money, right? And I remember getting a few jobs actually, and my vision was like, I just want to become great at this crypto trading stuff. Like all this, I want to, take the money that I have, a little bit of money, and eventually, go full time with it. And so I remember getting some shitty jobs. I work late at night, all that shit. Again, just with that in vision of, you know, eventually becoming great at forex at the time, and then with crypto. So if you're young or old or whatever the fuck, like, do not be ashamed, especially if you have a bunch of time on your hands. Like, go get extra hours or go get a job if you don't have one. I know, like, again, it's even if it's at a fucking shitty like restaurant, fast food restaurant, whatever it is. Um, you have that end goal in mind of investing and eventually being able to go full time with whatever the fuck you're doing. I mean, don't be afraid to do that. Because yeah, especially right now, if you pick the right coins, like I said, when I my first bear market, a lot of the coins went 20, 30, 40, 50x because I bought them early in couple million market cap before the mainstream people were coming, you know. And I think there's an equal opportunity on some of these coins right now if you pick the right ones. So, what is up, Rojam? How you doing? How you doing? Always tell other friends of crypto that one day we'll be buying things like concert tickets as NFTs. Exactly. Exactly. I think yeah, that kind of stuff I think starts happening over the next few years. Uh but yeah, to conclude, I do think, guys, if you're just hopping in right now, first of all, welcome. I appreciate you for being here. Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. Um pretty quiet news day in the markets. We're going to talk about the Zach XBT thing here in a second. We're going to do a USDC giveaway at the closer to the end of the show for people in the comments of the comments of the stream tweet that we put out. So if you want to enter yourself in that, make sure to do that. And then also, if you're just pulling up right now, or you just pulled up in the last few minutes, or you weren't here at the top of the show, let me know two things. One, if this is the first time that you're tuning in, and then two, or if you're returning, say returning, and then two, let me know what country you're tuning in from. Always love to see that. Um, Bitcoin, though, to kind of conclude, I do think that we are going to get continued downside to Bitcoin, guys. I think this is actually a really strong setup for more downside. We broke below this consolidation, pulling back a bit. Some would say that, well, we're retesting the support that is now resistance. I don't really use resistance and support too much, but yeah, I think there's a good chance to, or good case to be made that we will continue lower into next month. And I'm really looking for 57, 58K for kind of a target in the short term. But really just DCAing into Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. I think we're low enough now, 50% off the highs, that I don't really give a shit if we go down to 40, 35, whatever these coins that I'm buying now, very long term. I have so much conviction in Bitcoin, ETH, some of these other coins of going back up when we do go up that at this point I'm willing to take some downside or some drawdown, right? So it's just about DCAing, um, what I'm continuing to do, and then again, I'm more of a chart guy and like to play the shorts. So I'm playing some short side, setups when they present themselves, and looking for some coins. Like for those of you guys who are in the Telegram channel, the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. First of all, shout out to you. If you guys are in the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel, it's right. BMC's in the chat. Uh, but we put up a coin in there, Grockius, that went from like 250K market cap to like 4 mil. So there's definitely some coins out there moving, but for the most part, you know, just DCAing and uh, playing some setups to the downside. I know DCAing is the most boring shit uh, that you can think of. It just sounds like some boomer lingo, and it is for the most part. But like I told you, like the biggest wins I've ever had, a lot of the biggest wins I've ever had, again, the biggest like period of wins I've ever had from going from like very little to a bigger portfolio was DCAing into those alts and Bitcoin ETH during that 2018 bear market, right? So it's boring, takes months and weeks. Sometimes you're going to take some drawdown, but it could be what takes you from having a very small port to really up there with other people because you had the courage and the knowledge to really find the right coins. uh how do I learn to share here? Let's see here. Thoughts on potentially, oh, I already saw that. How do I need to shut my window, give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. But how do I learn to short? um there's some info I can send you, but really you really like you look at you short on the big exchanges or hyper liquid stuff like that. So if you want to look up leverage trading, perps, stuff like that on Google, and then I can send you some stuff in the DMs. But right now, leverage, it's I would really just be focusing on DCing right now. Grockius will moon hard. Yeah, we'll see if it continues up. Def not my first time here. Of course, not Affinity. I know you, brother. Every cycle, I look back at the prices and wish I DCA'd. Exactly. Appreciate you for reposting, Superman Dan. But yeah, Zach XBT though, guys. Obviously, let's see here. So Zach XBT uh, put out a tweet a few days ago. Here, guys, give me 2 seconds. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. All right, I'm back. Was that Crow? Nah, yeah, no, it was something else. But Zach XBT put out this tweet yesterday saying new major investigation dropping February 26th on one of the most crypto's profitable businesses where multiple employees abused internal data to insider trade over a prolonged period of time. Right. So some a little bit of drama and excitement on the timeline. Much needed because again, other than Bitcoin moving down, there's literally nothing going on in crypto this week. Um, really. But yeah, I honestly the first thing I see this, you obviously think about major exchange. You hope it's not Binance or Coinbase. At least I don't. Because I think if it was Coinbase or Binance, especially Coinbase, which is you know um, a publicly traded company, there's obviously risk to that. The stock coming down, just a lot of implications. If it was a big institution or exchange like Coinbase, Binance, a lot of people have speculated recently that maybe Binance could be insolvent or could be this cycle's FTX. Usually, when you hear stuff like that and it's telegraphed and people are saying it, very rarely does it happen. But man, I mean, if it was Coinbase or Binance, that would be crazy. But if you go over to Polymarket, the top, the top one is Meteora. Now, does that mean there's some type of insider and somebody in Meteora knows something? Well, yesterday, somebody placed a someone created a new Polymarket wallet and spent 5,800 to bet that Meteora would be accused of insider trading. And then he also, the same wallet, deposited 11,500 into Hyperliquid and opened a 3x short. So does that imply that this person is an insider and knows that it is Meteora, or is it somebody who's just betting that that's happening and that's just being baked into the price? I don't know. Usually, Polymarket, something like this, when it's such a far, there's such a big margin between the two, there usually is some type of insider. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's not like the guy, $5,000 bet. Let's see how much liquidity is in here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Could go either way. I think Meteor actually makes a lot of sense because I don't know if you guys remember when Hayden Adams around the whole Argentina coin thing, and then Melania and all that, they were actually implicated in this same kind of thing where they were insider trading. They knew when the coins were coming to launch, so they would let certain people know so that they could snipe the launches and obviously dump and pump and dump and everything. So Meteora makes a lot of sense. MEXC also makes a lot of sense. A lot of drama around them over the years of them canceling people's withdrawals and a lot of stuff. So that makes a lot of sense. Pump Fund, that's kind of the first one I thought of, um, which would make a lot of sense. But I don't know. Deck screeners, interesting. Uh, I, that's an interesting one. Wintermute, Jupiter, Coinbase, Binance are obviously much, much lower. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. I think Meteor actually makes a lot of sense. I think Pump Fund is a small chance that it could be, Pump as well. And then, I think it's good to see that Coinbase and Binance are low on this list. Probably means there's a good shot it's not some insider trading on the speculation around the insider trading. So let me know what you guys think in the chat, though. Um, do you think Bitcoin is going to 57 because of a potential strike on Iran? I don't know. I don't know about the Iran thing. Obviously, those things come out of nowhere. None of us ever know 100%, when those things are coming. But I could see that be the catalyst that pushes us lower 100%. Is Binance advisor, so he won't say that. Yeah, that's what other people are saying. Meteor 100%. They profited a lot from a single sided liquidity. I could have sworn some drama like this already came out about Pump Fund. Yeah, other drama. I don't know if it was insider trading drama. Those, though. If I was Zach, I would bet on myself. Yeah, I think Zach. I doubt Zach would be doing that, but yeah, it's an easy way to insider trading. Wouldn't that be ironic? He's insider trading on his expose about insider trading. that'd be that'd be something. What do I miss? Let's see. Um, Let me see. But yeah, a few other interesting things that happened this week. A few smaller things. Um, let's see. What was it? The AI bots deals. Sorry, it's loading. Um, where is it? Here, let me find it. Here, I'll find it in a second. But yeah, I think Bitcoin, guys, continues probably to moves down to 57K into later this spring, and I think at that point we could potentially see a bottom. But again, two things we're looking for: either some kind of consolidation for a few months, which is usually what we see to end big corrections like this, or some type of V-shaped bottom. V-shaped bottom like this, like we got in 2020, usually comes with some type of crazy black swan or like a bullish black swan type of event where like COVID, where we came down hard, but then they announced that they're going to print trillions of dollars. That's kind of what just put the kind of like a halt in Bitcoin and then just sent it up without having to consolidate. So we're looking for really two of those things. I think either this summer or potentially into later this year could be the time we do see that happen. But let me know. Let me know some questions or comments or some of the other things you guys are looking at in the chat. Some chart requests, anything you want me to look at, and continue to hang out here probably for another 30 minutes. We'll do that USDC giveaway here in a bit as well. But also, let me know. Also, make sure to like, comment, retweet, share if you guys could. Make sure to shoot me a follow. Typically, I do these streams Tuesdays and Fridays around this time. Usually around. Lately, it's been around 12 or 1 p.m. PST. Tuesdays and Fridays. This Friday, I'm actually going to have a good friend of mine. A lot of you guys probably know him, Poppy. He's the founder. Or he's not necessarily the founder. He's the owner. He took over the brand later on of Quirkies, this pretty popular NFT project. Him and I are gonna. He has a background in markets and technical analysis and other cool stuff as well. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the markets, kind of how how he sees things play out over the next couple of months, just kind of life building as an NFT founder in 2026. When I don't know about you guys, I don't any of people here are really into NFTs, collecting NFTs, but you talk to people about crypto nowadays. Like I tell people, you know, uh, I'm in the crypto industry, like do different stuff on the channel, all this different stuff, and people still look at me kind of weird sometimes. But a lot of people know about crypto, right? Like they've heard about it for a long time. NFTs, though, you tell anybody you're still interested in NFTs or whatever the hell, it's like, it's crazy. Like people are just like, what are those things even still a thing? So I want to hear from Poppy. We'll hear from him on life and building as an NFT founder in a time where really, you know, you really have to be a visionary. So he's Quirky's and him are one of the few founders and teams that I think have a shot at actually building a real IP that comes out of crypto, because none of these NFT projects will matter or be collectible in 10 or 20 years if the IPs aren't massive and people outside of crypto actually care about it and care about the characters and care about the actual IP. So I really like what Poppy's doing with Quirky. So excited to hear from him next week. Um, Lobster thing was on hype too. Yeah, if V shape occurs, Allah only knows what will happen. Bitcoin will bounce soon, maybe this month, and make sentiments bullish and then crash. What do you think about Sui? Seemed like it was cooking for a minute. Yeah, I generally think the top 3 to 5 L1s will bounce back when this bear market's over. But I think Sol and Ether are in such a nice position that I'm just personally sticking to those. But Sui's not looking too terrible either. I think into the future, Bitcoin is always double bottoms before reversing to the upside. Yeah, usually. Let's see what else. Shout out to my homie Hemdog. You see a lot of the crypto streamers nowadays too. They've kind of gone, understandably so, to start talking about more mainstream stuff like the looks maxing and all that, which is interesting. But AI, let me know if you guys in the chat have been messing with OpenClaw or any of the AI agents. Do you use AI at all? I mean, over the last year, I've really started using ChatGPT and Claude and different stuff. More recently, Claude, but for like everyday stuff, like anytime instead of Googling something, I'll have a conversation or type to ChatGPT or again Claude, and get such more detailed answers. Like honestly, uh, greatly improved my life and like efficiency and stuff, literally just from using AI. Let me know in the chat. Do you guys use AI at all? You started using AI agents? I've really, my producer, my friend here, um, Jess here, can't stop me now. He really keeps me up to date on some of this stuff. But I'm really making an effort to so I can talk about it on streams and really just keep up to date and really know what's going on in the AI world. I think it's really interesting what's happening with OpenClaw. There's a lot of people who love it, hate it. I saw an Andrew Tate video the other day. Andrew Tate, thread guy, where let's see this one. Can you hear this?
Jesse knows more than me, but OpenClaw. No, I'm sure there's some programming dork out.
We know Top G
there who knows more than me, but OpenClaw. You just plug it into your entire life, your emails, your Wi-Fi, your WhatsApp. You give it access to absolutely everything, and then you ask it to do things for you instead of you doing them yourself. So instead of going on WhatsApp and messaging someone, you message OpenClaw asking it to go on WhatsApp to message someone. And then this software has absolute control over your entire life, like Skynet. And you're doing it so that you can save time, I guess.
I love when a motherfucker that's not running OpenClaw got a take on OpenClaw. Talking about it connects to your Wi-Fi.
I mean, is it really to save time, or is it because you're a fucking dork and you want to be like, oh my God, look, you don't have an AI virtual assistant? No, no, I don't have an AI virtual assistant. You know what I have? I have a Slavic PA who's bad. I have baddies. And I message the baddies and say, book my hotel, sort my jet. Maybe I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. What happened to the blonde with big tits?
But yeah, I just think it's just funny how the polarizing opinions on the OpenClaw. A lot of people think, again, it's like you're giving the fucking AI so much, giving it so much autonomy in your stuff. Like it's like Skynet, and then a lot of people, it seems like the people who are playing with it think it's like the future, and it's like it obviously is the future, but it's like something that's everybody should get on and start using and stuff. So for me, I'm just really starting to learn more. I haven't really set up any OpenClaw or any of that type of stuff. I know right now it's pretty limited in what it can do. It's really just scraping internet and scraping stuff and pulling text data. But I assume, in the near future, people will set up stuff where literally will replace um, whole workforces. Like somebody used an example on one of these streams with Thread Guy, I think, where like somebody will create a workforce that could save Google, for example, $7 billion and sell it to them for by like automating their workforce and sell it to them for like $1 billion, and that may eliminate millions of jobs, right? Like that kind of thing is going to happen, and it's just I think the question is on everybody's mind is it 5 years away, 7 years away, 2 years away, 6 months away? I don't know, right? Like, and what does that mean? Does that mean we go on UBI? Like, is the world ready for such a quick transition? I don't know, but I think being somebody who, even if you're not full time in crypto, even if you're not somebody who's completely just like, you know, that's your job, I think investing in digital assets and just in being an investor and holding um, appreciating assets is one of the only ways that you might be able to set yourself apart and escape like kind of the real big rat race. Like imagine like some of these tech companies start cutting jobs, like that's like pretty wealthy people or people who are like higher middle class that are going to lose their job. It's going to completely shake up the system. I think people who are either full time, like doing really well with investing and trading, or even just like part time and just have like a portfolio or a nest egg, really may be one of the only ways to escape, um, you know, the whatever's coming as far as just being on UBI or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what it's AI is going to bring. Again, it's like a polarizing thing. Most people either think it's going to create the like a utopia for everybody, or it's going to like enslave everybody, right? I don't know. I tend to lean towards just like the internet and all of that. Um, that it will create, just make the world like a more efficient place. And of course, there'll be bad stuff that comes with it as well. But yeah, I don't know. Again, let me know in the chat what you guys think. The workforce will replace when AI reaches digital human. Yeah, I think in the next few years it will reach AGI. I won't give AI any of my access. Just give it using it for emails and creating scripts for TikTok videos. Okay, nice, Ben. What kind of? Let me know in the chat, Ben. What kind of TikTok TikTok videos are you making? Grew up watching Terminator 2. I know, man. I always think back to Terminator, Skynet. I used to watch those movies with my dad, and that was the movie. A lot of people think they put stuff in movies like predictive programming to get you used to it later on, right? If you're a fucking conspiracy person. Um, but I don't know. That is pretty crazy though. I remember the Terminator movies, and I don't know. Oh, what is what is going to stop against that from happening? Like I don't know. It's incredible. Don't don't use it for chatting. Use it for real working repeated work. Yeah, I won't get. Okay, I already said that. The workforce will replace when AI reaches. Yeah, AGI. Crypto education on TikTok. Nice, bro. We should talk. Do you do crypto like with your face, or is it like faceless content? It's going to be hard since some relatives are usually online giving out their data, possibly risking. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who probably get their stuff stolen from the AI. Listening to guys like you and creating scripts, turning them to videos. Interesting. So you're okay. So you're faceless content. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, well, you and I should talk. That's cool. I've been doing faceless content, obviously, putting on TikTok for a bit, but would be interesting to see what you're doing with it. Shirobo. Oh, this is on my other post. Shout out to Shirobo. Hope you're doing well, bro. Shirobo. Uh, shout out to Pablo. Shout out to everybody who's following here on the stream. We'll go ahead and do that USDC giveaway in about 10 minutes. what kind of advice do you want, Ben? But yeah, man, these streams are just crypto in general has just been night and day. I was watching back on the streams like 6 months ago that we were doing, and there was just so much shit to talk about firing off. Dude, there'd be like I don't know if you guys remember. It is crazy how like things go to such extremes during the bear market. You'll see, and the bull market. Like in the bull market, everybody always talks about how there's never a dull day in crypto. There's literally five. Like you'll go off Twitter for an hour, and there's like 5 or 6 big things that have happened, or huge coins that have run, or like DMs, like just group chats blowing up, and then just a few short months later, 3 4 months later, it can go to now where it just feels like the complete opposite, right? Vibes, everything, but also again during these times it's cliche, but like the work or like really the DCA and the buying and like research and the shit that you're doing right now is what makes the bull good, right? So just how the next bull good, right? It's kind of how it works. BMC, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody who's in Boss Man calls. If you guys aren't in there already, you should be. Let me do this. Let's see. Yeah, Boss Man calls. If you guys aren't already, make sure to check that out. Again, Bossman and I have been building this together for about 2 years now, since November of 2023, about coming up on 2.5 years. Um, you know, I think we started when I started working with them at 300 members again in November of 23, all the way to 40K members all over the world now. And it's been like biggest blessing in my one of my biggest blessings to be able to interact with everybody in the channel. Again, him and I over the years have posted education, great calls. Even during this bear market, we nailed, a lot of the big plays, USDC, USDUC, Pengu, Pump, um, a lot of the coins that ran, especially during the bull. There's streams in there, giveaways, a lot of that good stuff. So if you aren't already in there, if you're looking for a place to really learn and lock in and plug in during this kind of bear period, um, make sure to be in there. Boss Man calls and shoot me a DM, either here on Twitter and let me know you're from the stream. If I'm not following you already and you're in the streams, just let me know in the chat, and I'll make sure to follow you. I want to lock in with everybody who's here right now. I appreciate you, Travel Degen, for saying that. Oh, oops! I just realized I'm sharing the whole screen. Hold on. Let's go back to sharing just the chart. Do you think we actually go to 40 to 45K crypto, Jim? Yeah, fire off some questions if you guys have any as well. Do you think we go to 40 to 45K as the majority? Honestly, dude, like, I think it's anybody's guess. People will be able to like say, oh, I think, because this fib level or this extension or whatever, it's going to stop here. But I think there's a good case to be made that we may see a bounce at around 56 because of the structure that's here. But we could blow right through that and stop at 45. It's really anybody's guess. Two things we should be looking for to kind of identify a potential bottom is consolidation, like we saw at the end of 2022, or some type of V bottom where we get a big spike down and then all of a sudden we come up, usually, and come up very fast and never go back down again. Instead of consolidating, right? That's also possible. That's what we saw in the 2020 bear market. Usually what happens with V-shaped bottoms usually comes with some type of big out of nowhere event that kind of changes things in the macro sense or somewhere. In 2020, they started, obviously COVID-19 took over, started spreading very fast. And then all of a sudden, people were losing their jobs, businesses were shutting down. And then they announced that they were going to start printing money and stimulating the economy. That's when we V bottomed and just start heading up straight from there. So what that could kind of look like, maybe, China announces a Bitcoin buy or Apple or something crazy out of nowhere that most people aren't expecting, or something, also could be something bad as well, like a COVID type of thing. Um, that could just form some type of V bottom. Obviously, that's just speculation. Those are two things we're looking at chart wise. But where we're at currently, sitting right below a multi week low like this and kind of not showing very much strength, usually this points to more downside. That's kind of my base case. I am short Bitcoin right here from about 56K. I'm sorry, 60. What is it? About 66K, 66.5. And I do think we're going to go lower. Just going to continue DCA and collect NFTs and slowly nibble on altcoins as well. And I think the on chain trading thing, whether it be with meme coins, which I think movement memes are going to have a big bounce back as a category, or AI or whatever it turns into, I think that's also going to have a big comeback as well. So really that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing really on the content side. I am going to, really working on it here, getting equipment and stuff, but going to start doxing, just going to dox and start doing face streams and stuff like that. I think it's a good time to do it. Why not? I've been planning on it for a while. And it's just like I've really been inspired, or really just like also, what was it? What's the guy's name? He was also just talking about that's actually a really kind of a big, that's kind of a big point of contention right now, or like what a lot of people are talking about is doxing as a content creator. A lot of people think you don't need to. There's a big thing around doxing right now on crypto Twitter, and how with I don't know, it's something we can talk about on the next show. But yeah, I do plan on doing that and all that good stuff. So uh, just looking at some of the comments here. Appreciate everybody who's commenting and following as well. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. How long do you think Solana is gonna go? Let's see. And since this is consensus, does Bitcoin do the opposite of this and bounce way before this? Usually that's how it goes, man. I mean, when it's at the extremes, you'll see, like, you're already starting to see it, like just lots of doom and gloom, people calling for 20 or 30K. You'll see people talking about, Bitcoin's never, it's not, there's no reason why Bitcoin's going to go up in the next few years. We're going to be in like a 10-year bear market, stuff like that. You'll start to see certain narratives like that start to be talked about. And usually that's a good time to buy. And that's why I think 56, 57K, whether it be the very bottom or not, I think we're going to start to see that extreme sentiment. That's usually a good time to buy. Whether you nail the exact bottom or it goes down another 10, 20, 15%, I don't, my goal is to not time the bottom and be perfect. It's just to be positioned in good coins when we do hit the bottom, right? So I already have my DCAs. I've been DCing Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, building positions in that for, 3 or 4 years consistently. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. And again, then play the smaller stuff more heavily when the market conditions have, turned around. So Golden Roger says in the Telegram channel about 1 year and really happy. I'm in a lot of learning, cooks, and giveaways. Hell yeah, bro. One of the only sources that I actually learned from. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. When do you think will happen when the yen replaces the dollar? I don't know anything about that. I wouldn't bet on that. What are your thoughts on the idea behind Basked coin, the concept and principle, and what would be make a token like it actually useful? I don't know too much about Basked, to be honest with you. Basked. Yeah, I don't. Basked. Oh, it's on virtuals. Oh, is that 20K? Is this the one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, if this is the one, then yeah, I don't know. It looks like this one's probably dead, brother. La, 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 la. How low do you think Solana is going to go? It's at 79. Anywhere between here and probably 50, bro. But like I said, it's anybody's guess. The exact number, who knows? I like to look at structure again. Consolidation usually forms the bottoms. or some type of V bottom that comes with some kind of big news event that changes the market dynamics. Uh, Other than that, I think Solana probably heads higher into the end of the year, or into later in the year at some point. Uh, but again, I'm just DCAing into Bitcoin ETH Sol, where right now, if it were to turn around today, Apple and China bought Bitcoin on the same day, and we rock it up to fucking 90K tomorrow, I would be already, my bags are packed and I'd be good to go. Right? It's just not about, it's about not perfecting it and not trying to, take your entire portfolio and hope to time the bottom perfectly. That usually doesn't work out well. And actually, I know a lot of people who in these other bear markets and bull markets, they tried to do just that, where they try to, you see this all the time, people sell all their coins and then they expect it to go a little bit lower. It never goes there. And then it's very tough to get back into the market when, it's very tough to get back into the market when you've already gotten out, you've already sold everything, you have like this bias because you're always just like, oh, it could go lower, it could go lower, and you just play mind games with yourself, and then, oh, all of a sudden it's up 50% from your entry or where you got out at, and then you're like, fuck it, I'm not getting back in. I'm just, so that's why just not trying to time the market. It's about time in the market, obviously, that cliche saying. What NFTs am I buying? I'm buying VFriends. I'm buying, you know Good Vibes Club, Quirkies. I'm buying projects. Obviously CryptoPunks. I'm actually, still trying to secure one of those. Still looking. I haven't really focused on that this last week or two, but especially now that they're at these prices in USD. CryptoPunks art, like X copy and stuff. That's not really my expertise, but and then I think VFriends, Quirkies, Pudgy Penguins, probably Apes. Maybe Azuki. The ones that are building real IPs and brands that will attract people from outside of crypto to actually fall in love with the brand itself. Like right now, you should think of NFTs, most of them, the IP ones, as, is this company going to become the next great fill in the blank, Pokemon or Disney? It doesn't have to be those ones, but fill in the fucking blank. Because in order for these NFTs to hold thousands of dollars in utility, they have to be like popular brand, or in, I'm sorry, in value, like 10 or 15 years from now, they have to actually be popular in the mainstream. People actually have to be loving the characters and collecting it, and waiting for the next comic or waiting for the next show to come out or whatever it may be. Those are the ones where the NFTs will be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff like that someday. And that's why I see VFriends, who's already attracting a bunch of new people outside of crypto, as years kind of ahead of everybody else. It may not reflect in the floor price yet, but VFriends, obviously a big one. Like I said, the Apes, the Pudgies, all that. Good Vibes Clubs, probably good value here. Quirkies, stuff like that. Um, I'm just collecting the ones that I enjoy. That's going to be insane at the J. I don't know anything about JPY for replacing the dollar. Yeah, I don't know anything about Basque, man. I'd have to read into it. Where's the bottom for Bitcoin? 60K a post. Yeah, man. Timeline is freaking dry, but we continue pushing. Benjamin Cowan says, if you normalize this chart with respect to M2, you get a cleaner look at the late business cycle environment. Within the next 2 to 3 years, the current business cycle should end and a new one will begin. Until then, select deployment of capital and preservation is warranted. Somebody I do really respect and I've actually been learning a lot from to this day is Benjamin Cowan. So he's a must follow, in my opinion. IMO. But let's go ahead and do that giveaway, guys. Again, I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Tuesdays, Fridays, every week. Wish there was more to fucking talk about, but again, some weeks it's going to be like that. I think the faster, I think it's some positives to focus on here, other than, again, the obvious ones of crypto. I think just being years away from seeing real adoption from digital assets and, wallets and all of the people who actually run the world and the financial world super high on crypto and talking about how it's the future and everything, but prices are still down. Apart from those obvious ones, the fact that Bitcoin is actually dropping quickly here could end up meaning that, other than, if we get some type of macro like recession or something, that could continue to push prices down longer. But the fact that we're getting such a steep price move down now could really lead to the fact that we'll see a shorter bear market here. Like, I could see the case where Bitcoin potentially comes down into June, July, something like that, bottoms out in the summer, and then goes up to where this correction is 6 to 9 months instead of that typical 1 year. So that's something positive to focus on. Other things to focus on is there's still actually some solid plays in Grockius and some of these other ones that have come out over the last few days. There's some opportunity, um, and yeah, I think there's just so many great content creators, so many great founders and stuff to learn from right now. Right now, what I would focus so much on right now is setting up a profit taking system so that you can properly take profits when you do have opportunities in this next bull. But really learn as much as you can. Get on streams like this, which if you're not following, make sure to follow. Check out the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel, turn on post noties, all that. But find a few people that you like to learn from, you're drawn to, you find entertaining, but as well as like really like resonate with you, who have a certain expertise, whether it be this stream or Benjamin Cowan. Find two, three, five creators, or people who are putting out content, and learn as much as you can from them, and focus on those people, and then really just have patience, macro patience, while working your ass off in the micro. That's really working your ass off too, meaning just being consistent, consistency every day, doing something to get better in crypto, whether that be learning from an interview, practicing new chart stuff, getting on a stream like this, whatever it may be. Spend an hour a day getting better, spending an hour a day learning from crypto Twitter or watching videos, and then just stay involved while also not driving yourself too crazy. It's the worst thing to burn out during a bear market. There's literally no fucking point, right? So, you know, say that there's a something that cracks off tomorrow, NFT bull market cracks off tomorrow, or something happens where altcoins just start going up. There's going to be time to enter. You don't have to be like glued to your fucking screen all day. You'll thank yourself in a few, 6 months from now, that one, that you stayed involved, but two, that you didn't obsess and go crazy. Find other habits in life. For me, I've really focused, other than like doing some traveling and stuff that I'm going to start doing, is really the gym. Like, I don't know if you guys saw my post a couple weeks ago. I've lost like 30 pounds since this summer. Um, Focusing on working out, getting my health right, like just other stuff outside of the markets, while the markets are down and stuff, um, is huge, right? It's the worst thing to become somebody who only identifies as a crypto person. Like you're a crypto guy, and it's really easy. I've experienced this in past years, past cycles with forex or whatever. It's like you identify as only that, and then when the market's not doing well, it's really easy that to your whole everything just shifts towards that, right? You want to be, it's fucking cliche, but you want to be, find balance so that during these times you don't drive yourself nuts. That's what I've learned, from past years. Uh, let's see. How do you feel about XCN? I'll look at XCN for you. Knowledge is power. Focus on doing TikToks. Must take at least 2 videos per day. Must make, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna do the TikTok with the face. TikTok with faceless is interesting. That's why I want to talk to you, see what you're doing potentially. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick the giveaway. The winners of the giveaway. I appreciate everybody who commented on this and everybody who tuned in. I'm gonna pick randomly right see here. Here, I gotta open this. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Sorry, I keep losing it. My bad. Uh, all right, the winner is cool. I'm glad this one is this one. You actually were asking some good questions today. Walu Ridley, Walu Ridley, congratulations. Go ahead and shoot me your sole address after the stream, and I will make sure to shoot you your USDC. I appreciate you for being on and supporting the stream. I've been doing giveaways most streams here, so expect more here in the future. Shout out to Craig and Greeny. These guys have been incredibly fucking consistent. Um, but yeah, man, it's it's been a hell of a last few months. Let me tell you. I mean, just as far as being different than the last year. You know, me personally, you guys know I was expecting that 81K was going to at least probably lead to at least some type of bounce and a little bit higher. But as we saw here, we do break lower, and that's just how it goes sometimes, right? You know, again, doesn't mean we're going to be here for a year and a half, 2 years. I would eliminate anybody telling you who thinks a bear market means we're not going to make a new all time high until like 2029 or something. Uh, that kind of stuff I think is very unlikely. I think what's going to end up happening, we're going to bottom out sometime this year, and I do think very likely, unless something comes out of nowhere, and we bottom out at 57K, that 2027 is probably where we're going to get the majority of the next wave of bullishness. But again, it's impossible to tell while it moves down, especially when there's so many things that could happen. If we were to bottom out at 57K, I'd be totally fine with that. I already have my bags packed. But if, again, my bias and what I'm leaning towards with all available information is that very likely we probably do push back down into one more time, probably into 57, 56, and probably take at least multiple months from there to form a bottom. That's usually how it goes. So either summer or into the end of the year, I think will be a very strong period for crypto, and that's probably where we see the very bottom. But usually these bottoms are not obvious, even for the most people who are paying attention. So let's go. Appreciate you, Walu. Again, shoot me that soul addy. But let me know if you guys have any questions. If you don't have any questions or comments or anything like that, I'll probably sign off here in a second. But again, make sure to check out the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. I'm probably going to start, again, reviewing some more videos and stuff as more stuff happens. Probably start talking about some stuff outside of crypto as well. But I'm going to start also doing some education type workshops where I'm going to have maybe one or two different uh, different topics we can talk about as far as like the education side of kind of dialing in mindset or anything like towards trading and investing. Where I'm also going to use in you know probably use in recorded videos as well. So look out for that next stream. Um, but other than that, guys, I wanted to pop in again, give a little bit of an update on Bitcoin, hang out with everybody. Want to continue to have these streams be a place where people can come and hang out during this time, act as maybe a fucking therapy session for a lot of us. Again, for a lot of you, maybe bored or whatever it may be. But again, I think there's so many things, more things to be positive about, especially when you zoom out a few months, and just zoom out. I think again, all the institutions in the world don't set up these crypto products and talk about crypto being the um, next big thing. It's not like some guy on MSNBC saying that crypto is going to be all the markets are going to go on chain and whatever. You have Larry Fink, where Larry Fink doesn't just speculate on what things going to happen. Like this guy actually drives decisions. Like he drives what investors believe in. He's very, very influential. And this guy's been talking about all year and all the last few years about how crypto and on chain and tokenization and digital wallets and all these things are going to become, like how he's trying to push that on the world essentially. And what that's going to lead to is just adoption of crypto in general, which trickles down into the smaller stuff that a lot of us trade. It's just going to grow the bigger pie. So I think there's just so much to be positive about. It's just about using this time to the best of our abilities to become better at trading and just focus on other stuff in life, not drive yourself crazy. I say this at the end of every stream, but if you identified yourself as a crypto person and you gave your all to it the last few years, maybe you didn't go out with friends, you didn't do this, you sacrificed time, you made some money, you didn't make some money, whatever, and you feel like you lost it all, or you feel like you spin your wheels and like, what the fuck did I even do for the last couple years? Like, trust me, I've experienced that in my first couple, like a first bear of mine. Um, Sorry, somebody texted me. Uh, but if you, yeah, sorry, it's an important text. Uh, if you feel like you're just spinning your wheels or whatever, like trust me, I've been there. That 2018, 2019, or 2016, 2017 bear market, I felt like that a little bit. In that 2018, 2019 bear market, I definitely had enough to where I was able to go full time, but there's a lot of profits I left on the table. Even this year, like I think I did pretty well and took a lot of profits and was very aggressive and all that, but there's still stuff that I wish I could do better on. Like it's just about getting to the place where you know, you don't only identify as a fucking crypto person, right? So I just advise, find other fucking hobbies, start working out, whatever, past the time. And I promise you, like, looking back, this time will go by quickly. Just check the remaining comments. It def helps to have good streams such X spaces when the market is quiet. It keeps me sane. I appreciate you saying that, Walu. You know, Same thing with you guys. If there wasn't a chat here and hanging out with you guys, then it's definitely makes it a lot more enjoyable having a chat to interact with, and that's honestly a blessing. You guys could be doing absolutely anything right now, especially during a time where crypto's not moving. Right, you could be doing anything, but you decided to spend your time with me, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Rojan, love you, bro. Nice to see you. Ben, Gold, Roger, Creed, Luminous, and A Neil, Affinity, Sam's, Walu, ATK, Mike, Trench Baby Mills, Crypto Gems, Thanos, Creed, everybody. I appreciate you guys so much for coming on. Again, I will be back on Friday with my buddy Poppy um, for the next one. My bad, I unplugged my mic. For the next one. But with that being said, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Hang in there. The best is yet to come. And if you're not following me, if I'm not following you yet from the stream, shoot me a DM, comment on the bottom of the stream. I want to follow everybody who's here locked in with us on the streams. And with that, I'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great rest of your day and be safe. Peace.